Okay, so I was thinking, what if we only have two colors and we would be drawing birds just so we have some kind of subject? But yeah, basically we are trying to limit ourselves and not do the color explosion that I always love to do. I mean, we are still gonna do some color explosions, but you know, in a minimal two color palette way. So yeah, let's see how that goes. Hello guys, so today I decided to do a little bit of a challenge for myself, and you might thinking, okay, so the first pigeon is gonna be with red colors, but no. I am doing an under painting, I guess, just so I don't have the white paint picking through. So it's a technique you can definitely try out yourself. Sometimes when I'm painting with acrylics, I don't really love the look of white shining through, and then you have to be more mindful of where you put your paint and basically paint every little gap and crevice. So this also just kind of ensures that we don't have to do that. There's already some type of color under and it's peeking through, and I love the reds with the blues, so I thought, you know, I'm just gonna experiment and do this challenge with an underpainting thing, technique, whatever we could call it. And if this is breaking the rules of the challenge, I'm sorry, but I mean, I personally don't love challenges, and I'm never gonna do like a YouTube kind of challenge where it's like painting with only one color or trying these trends or doing this or that. I've never really liked that. Like, I love watching them, but I don't ever want to be that kind of YouTuber because it also gives me anxiety to even think about doing something like that. And plus, there's way too many people already doing that, so why should I add to that? And especially if I'm gonna be bad at it. So yeah, we're just doing this challenge, which my own rules, and I guess I will count in that the red is not part of our color scheme. So for this first little guy, I'm picking a blue and green. So blues and greens are kind of friendly neighbors on the color wheel, so they will go well together. So that is why they are pretty good here. I'm also now thinking of the background. I wanted to include some types of backgrounds. Usually I don't do it, but since we're changing it up a bit, I wanted to include it, and I'm super happy that I did it for this first guy. I think it definitely made him be more out there. I don't know how to explain it. He just looks more scrumptious. So I tried to think about where I place the colors, and I'm kind of doing like an inverse method where, you know, his head is blue, so then I decided for the background we're gonna make the bottom part blue, and then his backside is green, so then the background on top where his head is gonna be green. It's just a nice way to integrate the colors that we already have and not make it too mushy and together. So if we put blues where his head is, then obviously it would start to blend together, and we don't want that. So I also thought about a little bit of the light, I guess, with the values that the head is gonna be the darkest part, and so the background will kind of also be lighter so that we have this nice little contrast going on. So that's a little bit of how I decided to do things here. So another thing you might have seen that I was doing and also could see here, I just went in very loosely with all my colors, just figuring out what I want them to be. So I wasn't really worried about the brushstrokes or anything like that. So now I'm going over and finalizing them a little bit. Here I'm tipping the sketchbook over because the dark blue was shining too much, so I couldn't see what I was doing there. So anyways, as I've said, that these paints are very shiny and I love the finish, and oh my god, painting these guys, I want to whip out my big canvases and paint something big. So I am pretty much inspired from painting these pigeons, and I only wanted to paint pigeons just because they're so silly, but I wanted to paint eyes for some reason, like a very cutesy eye. And even though I was trying to make the eyes very sparkly and cute, I think they're too small to really notice that, but anyways, I tried. Another thing I was doing here is that since I want the head to be the main focus, that's kind of where I put all my details. So I also put the darkest parts there, and the darkest parts are also more towards the light, because if you look at shadows and stuff, then you would probably know that usually where the highlights are, then the shadow part is the darkest, and then we have some bounce light coming off. So I also integrated this bounce light effect as well, just a little bit differently. So basically I guess not super differently, but I decided to add some bounce light here with the greens, also where the blue is. So his head has some little green tint, and where his green feathers are, there's a little bit of a blue tint there as well. I just love when we can bring all the colors together but still have a nice cohesive result. So that's super fun. But yeah, as I said, I put all the details more towards his head because we need some breath in our piece where you can relax, I guess. I don't know how to explain it better, but it's just whenever you look at a piece, it needs some parts where it's not too overly done, so that the parts where there are details, you can relax and just enjoy them to their full potential. So that's why I also didn't do much with the background. I just made it a little bit cloudy, a little bit airy, and I don't even know where he is, but I thought it's a cute background. And at this point I was a little bit tired, but I also have some exciting things to show you. So after this pigeon was done, I decided to tackle a part of my room, which you will see right now. Okay, so you've seen all the nice parts of my studio, but there is this corner that I did not know what to do with, except I decided I need some relaxing, cozy space, so this corner was perfect for creating it as like a little cozy corner, relax, a book reading time sesh corner. So Flexispots were so nice and sent me this chair and this storage unit that I am in love with, because I can finally store all my non-existent puzzles. But there will be puzzles. I only have one, but I love making puzzles, so that's what I will be doing. So this is super perfect and I am in love with my little nook. So I would love to know, what should I add to make it even better? Maybe some plants or some paintings? But if you want a little cozy corner for yourself, then check out the links below. And yeah, this is where I will be if I need a little break from all the pigeon painting. Okay, so the second pigeon I was super excited for because I love a red and green palette and they are complementary colors, so it also should be fine with us exploring these color combos. But then, I started overthinking everything at the start. Right now, everything's going well, right? I have this nice creamy base. And I'm putting in like a lightish pinkish start at the head. I wanted it to be almost white so that we have the contrast, because I wanted the background to be green, and I didn't want it to be complex either, but also I was tired, so I made the background basically one color. And here I really love how the colors flow into each other, but then I decided to start overdoing this piece, I guess. But I mean, it was all fine, except at one point I decided to be experimental and add a little bit of a different green or add contrast in some weird places. I'm not sure what was going through my head, but you will see that we will have so many phases of this painting that I'm not really happy of the end result, and so I will be doing this color combo definitely in the future. But yeah, so I decided to go for this creamish reddish start and then go towards green. But I think because I did the red underpainting, I think it was throwing me off a little bit. I know I said it works and it helps, but here, since I was doing a red and green color palette, I think the red peeking everywhere was throwing me off. But you can see here that I'm doing stuff that I'm not thinking anymore. And here you can see this neon-ish kind of green, almost blue. So I think that's where I started to go a bit bonkers. The problem here is not that it looks bad, but we just don't really have that color anywhere else. So it jumps out quite a lot. So that's like basically the first place you would look at, and that was not my goal. And then I decided to get rid of it, but then I started doing this contrasty thing, and again, it's not bad, but it's not what I want. And again, I don't know why I'm going with the blues. So I decided, you know what, let's just leave it alone and go to the next pigeon. Wow, that was quite the ramble. But yeah, so this last pigeon, I decided to do a purple pinkish color combo with blues. I know we already did blues, but I thought it's okay. And plus this one will be a bit more realistic, I guess, because the pigeon looks a little bit more like a pigeon, and the other ones I just wanted some funky colors. So for this guy I decided to make his head the darkest point and to have like a little rim light, a very subtle one on his back. And then I also decided that it would be cute to make the bounce slide be the purplish background color. I'm not sure, would you call this pink or purple? Because I was using both, but not really sure if you could call them really pink or purple. I don't know. That's just what I think in my head. Again, guys, I'm so sorry I ramble, but this is just what you will have to deal with if you watch my videos. But anyways, after all the drama we had with the previous pigeon, I was just depleted and worn down, so I was taking it easy with this guy. I wasn't really trying to do crazy stuff, and I also was trying to channel a bit more of the things I did in the first one. That's why I think it's so fun to do like a sketchbook painting drawing sesh, because we live and learn. For the first one we did great, and for the second one we did not so great, and we can just learn from our mistakes and use that knowledge for the next pieces. So yeah, that's what I tried to do here, and I think he looks adorable. I wish his eye was a little bit different. It's not giving the cutesy I was going for, but it's still cute, and don't get me wrong, but I think it could be cuter. But maybe that's just my perfectionism talking. So yeah, here you can see me doing the pink bounce slide. I guess here we see that it's pink. Anyways, I'm just in my head. So this challenge that I was trying to do, I would say wasn't too hard, and especially because whenever I do my color explosions, I usually don't go overboard with my colors. I try to focus at the start with 3 or maybe 4 colors, and then if needed I add some accent colors, so it wasn't too hard to figure out how to go about this. But yeah, it wasn't also that easy in a way. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know which color palette, or I guess pigeon, you like the most. I'm not sure which one I like the most, but yeah, I will see you next time. Bye guys!
Hold me tightly like I was there, and whisper softly in your ear that everything is gonna be alright.